The fifth dimension of the 21st Century Competencies Planning Guide is self-regulation. Taking responsibility for one's work, ongoing learning, and life goals is an important competency in a world where individuals work both independently and in teams. Students are using self-regulation when they engage in long-term activities in which they are required to plan the process of their work and improve it over multiple iterations. Self-regulation involves a range of thinking and learning skills students develop over time that are strongly related to the ability to produce quality work products in a timely manner. Planning and monitoring the progress and quality of work and to seek input where needed are key competencies in the 21st century because people increasingly are being expected to work with limited supervision and to function in non-routine situations without constant direction. Students who develop self-regulation skills will be more successful at individual work and in working as part of a team. As we reach the first level competency, the activity is long-term and students have learning goals and success criteria in advance. Learning activities are long-term when students have sufficient time to plan the process of their work and carry out that process to conclusion. Learning goals define what will be learned and help students place this learning in the context of prior learning. Success criteria provides students with a framework for planning their activities to achieve a particular outcome through rubrics or checklists. Here are some key considerations with this Level 1 competency. Content learning focuses on students' development of the ability to conduct work over a period of time. Learning goals and success criteria are initiated by the students instead of predetermined by the teacher. And finally, students likely will need substantial scaffolding relating to their use of time and the process of effectively planning their work. As you read this learning activity, think if it is long-term and if students have learning goals and success criteria in advance. Students in a woodshop class are given several class periods to plan and complete a poster on the safety considerations in working with power tools. Although students are given sufficient time to plan and carry out their work, they do not have success criteria in advance. What about this learning activity? Students in a woodshop class are given several class periods to plan and complete a poster on the safety considerations in working with power tools. Students are given a rubric detailing the learning goals and the necessary elements to be included in the poster. This is a yes example because this is a long-term project with sufficient time to plan and carry out the work within the context of specified learning goals and success criteria. Pause the video to see more yes-no examples for this competency level in the guide. Our next level on the competency guide for self-regulation is students plan and monitor their own work. Students who plan their own work are given the flexibility to make substantive decisions about the schedule and steps they will follow to accomplish a task. Here are some things to consider when students plan and monitor their own work. Decisions students make should be about substantive issues of schedule and process, not just surface-level issues. When planning their work, students may decide how by breaking down a complex task into simpler subtasks and by choosing the tools they will use. When? By creating a schedule for their work, including final and interim deadlines. Who? By determining how to divide work among several students. And where? By outlining which pieces of work should be done in or out of school. Students should be encouraged to monitor their work by regularly examining their progress and the quality of their work as they do it. Let's take a close look at this learning activity in this yes-no example. Over 2 weeks, students work in groups to research and debate lowering the voting age with their classmates. The teacher places students in groups and assigns specific roles. This is a no example. Students are following the plan and timeline developed by the teacher. Therefore, this is not a learning activity to support students planning and monitoring their own work. What about this learning activity? Over 2 weeks, students work in groups to research and debate lowering the voting age with their classmates. Students develop a plan showing who will research which aspects of the topic and who will speak at different points during the debate. Do you see the difference? Students are planning the schedule and process of their work and will follow this schedule and process to completion. Pause the video to see more yes/no examples for this competency level in the guide. Our last stop on the competency elevator guide for self-regulation is at level 3, where students have the opportunity to revise their work based on feedback. As with all other dimensions, all lower levels have to be included to reach the higher level of competency. Feedback provides students with critical information about their work to enable them to improve the work before being finalized. Effective feedback is specific about what students are doing well and offers specific guidance to help move learning forward. Is directly connected to learning goals and success criteria. Helps students be more aware of progress along a learning path, and leads to student reflection and planning of next steps. Some things to consider when students have the opportunity to revise their work based on feedback is to encourage students to plan their work such that feedback is sought at specific points in the development of a project. Feedback is also improved when it comes from multiple sources, including peers, teachers, experts, and from self-reflection. Is the next learning activity demonstrating this competency? As a yes or no example. Let's read and decide for ourselves. Students are given a rubric for creating a Prezi, infographic, or PowerPoint presentation, then present it to the class. Students' grades are based on the final presentation. Based on this information, students have success criteria for their work as evidenced from the provided rubric. However, students are not required to seek formative feedback on their work. Therefore, it is a no example. Compare it to this learning activity and you will see the obvious of why this is a yes example. Students are given a rubric for creating a Prezi, infographic, or PowerPoint presentation that they will present to the class. Students conduct practice presentations, receive feedback from peers and the teacher, and revise their presentations before doing the final presentation. Students' grades are based on the final presentation and the process of seeking and acting on feedback.
Correct.
As you can see, students have success criteria up front and are required to seek and act on feedback. Imagine how much better the presentations will result in exemplar work when students are given the opportunity to revise their work based on feedback from various sources. Pause the video to see more yes/no examples for this competency level in the guide. Self-regulation is one of the most in-demand abilities for individuals entering a workplace. Students who are able to take control of their work through effective planning and monitoring, and by seeking input regarding the work's progress and quality, are displaying an ability to self-regulate. As learning activities climb the self-regulation elevator, students get more practice working with these competencies.